I'm joined here by Laura Cretney in the studio talking about the situation in Syria. Originally we were going to be talking about an event you've got coming up, but that actually, well done, has sold out.
Thank you.
Well done. I have, known you were coming up here. We're fascinated to know about Syria because it doesn't really probably touch too many people's radar when there's so many other things going on, and probably people interested to know, well, why are you doing this, and what do you hope to achieve from raising money? So quite a big open question to start with. I mean, why Syria?
Well, I work a lot in the Middle East, and I've had quite a lot of people on the island ask me about my work, and specifically ask me questions about Syria and about the situation there. And so many people have expressed an interest in giving something back and trying to help the Syrian people. But I've realised that nobody really knows what they can do. And I see a huge opportunity on the Isle of Man with our small but really inclusive and quite engaged community to do something really positive and bring people together to do something fun and feel like they're contributing something positive to the Syrian people.
The Chief Minister came under a bit of attack here for not maybe doing enough, like taking refugees in. Do you have an opinion about that sort of thing? Should we take more people in, or do you just think the money should be handed out?
I think that the Isle of Man definitely could do something, and I think there's a will among people here to have refugees here and to help people. And I think in places like the Isle of Man, where it is a smaller community, there's definitely an opportunity in that it's easier for people to integrate into a smaller community and to get to know the local people than it is, for example, in a big city like London, where it's often easier for communities to isolate themselves and not really integrate. Which
happened in Sweden, of course, which has taken the most in, and they are very isolated. That's the report going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult to strike that balance. I believe one of the issues here was that we don't have the right infrastructure or support system for people, because obviously some of the people coming in need some very specialist care, psychological support. I believe that there are services like that on the Isle of Man, but I think that the government judged that it wasn't sufficient.
So that they're happy to hand the cash out, but they don't want to take people. That's how it reads to a lot of people, isn't it? Almost like,
it is how
we don't want to take them in, but there's some money sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly saw a fair bit of resistance on the island from people here. Who were saying things like the government should be taking care of its own people before we. And I think that's quite saddening to see, because I think people here often take for granted quite how lucky we are in terms of what we have here compared to even parts of the UK. We're very, very lucky here with the services that we have, education, health. I definitely think that we could do something, and I think that it's, at the end of the day, it's up to the people of the Isle of Man to care and to push the government to take a more active and hands-on approach than just handing out money to...
Sure, but even that money's not quite up to the money that the other international countries are doing, but that's another story.
Well, I think it's quite easy on the island to shut ourselves off from what's going elsewhere in the world, because we have a very high standard of living here, and we feel quite far removed, in a sense, from what's going on, certainly in the Middle East. But actually, I think that there are things that we can do, and it's really important to educate ourselves and to not lose sight of the fact that there are people just like us, and actually the world is more connected than ever today, and we can't just shut ourselves down from...
How do you make the world a better place, though? But you're going to raise some money from your event on Thursday. Do you just give it to one of the charities, or do you actually see it through to a certain cause?
Well, we're giving it to a charity that works in Syria. It's kind of difficult to find organisations that actually have the right access in Syria, because a lot of areas are very difficult to reach. Lots of humanitarian agencies have had real problems getting aid in and getting access to civilians who have been impacted by the conflict. So when you're looking to support people within Syria, you have to work with organisations that are already established. But certainly people can do more, can be more active in their approach to supporting people outside of Syria. For example, the Isle of Man a few months ago ran a coat appeal, collecting old coats to send to refugee camps on the Turkish border and in Calais. and that was supported by local businesses like Noah Bakehouse did a collection, and Edward Bryan Removals were collecting all the coats, and then a group of us boxed them all up and bagged them all up and sent them off in the van, and that was an amazing example of how people can really get involved and do something rather than just giving money to a cause and not knowing where it's going.
I suppose the problem also is there's so many other causes out there. Exactly. How do you raise your one above?
Exactly. I think with something like Syria, it's so visible. We hear about it and read about it and see pictures and videos and horrendous footage coming out of there every single day. And it's really easy for people to become numb to it because it's such a horrendous situation and we do feel so helpless about it. So with this, it's just trying to show people that actually there are things that we can do, and we need to try really hard not to let ourselves become numb to seeing these images.
If people want more information or want to help out, give you finance, how does it work?
They can go to the Hands Up Foundation's website, which is handsupfoundation.org, and donate if they'd like to support us. Or they could drop in a donation to Bath and Bottle to go with some of the other donations we've had. People have been incredibly generous and incredibly supportive, and it's a shame now that the tickets are all sold out.
That's
so
great.
People can't come
it's
to
not
the
bad
event,
though, is it?
No, it's fantastic. Yeah. And follow Bath and Bottle and Pink Jinn, which is a blog that I write about the Middle East. That's JINN, pinkjinn.com, and on Facebook as well. And if we do any similar events in the future, then the information will be up there.